So the one filter was out to drain the tank. Sorry for the poor angles, I didn't really catch it, but the filter units are pretty similar to what was in the harvester. So it was just a matter of pulling out the old elements, and these had kind of an inner basket to them that the harvester didn't have, but it was mainly cleaning up the magnets, replacing the filter element and bolting them back together. The lids for the filters are a little bit different compared to what was on the harvester. I prefer the other model, to be honest, because these I felt were harder to get back on there. Replaced the gaskets because the service kit had been purchased with some of the gaskets came new with it. Getting it in there and sliding that cross beam in place, and then it was about tightening things up. This one goes down and both pulls that up and presses down on the filter itself to push it down. A little tricky to get there and limited access, better access on the other machine. To access the other filter, the ventilation filter had to be removed because, well, it's tight. With that removed, found a broken hose, more on that later. It was only about loosening the lock nut, and then this was quite hard to get it to start moving since it's just a flat surface. You can't put a socket on there. Kind of annoying, but that's the way they did it. So eventually I was able to get it out there, tight fit to get the lid out. Once the filter itself was lifted out, it was just a matter of doing the same as all the others. Pulling it apart, cleaning things and replacing the filter element. Here also I kind of messed up, the angle was way off, so sorry about that. It also comes with a little O-ring that should be at the bottom before you put the filter element down. This also had that inner cage as the other filter on this machine. And then just tighten it back up and back in. Here I had some issues with getting it to kind of start moving. Ended up bringing it in and out a couple of times because something was kind of binding a little in the thread to get it to start closing the lid, but eventually I felt confident putting the lock nut back on there. Found this hose broken in 2 places, so it seems to connect to the unit back here. I think this is the vacuum pump for if you have a broken hydraulic hose, you start the vacuum pump and it creates a vacuum in the tank and you have less of a leak. So ventilation filter for the hydraulic oil tank, and it also has some air conditioner. I'm not really sure the harvester didn't have this unit on there. I'm not sure how to tell if it's good or bad. Here I see a little bit more color on. Some of them are reddish and some are black. Changing this ventilation filter on the forwarder reminded me I had purchased a new one for the harvester also, but forgotten to replace it. A little bit of filter, so probably good to have a filter. Since I was going ahead and doing the filters, I also changed the servo filter, I think this is called. You have to undo kind of a lid that holds it, and then there is a like insert filter you pull out and replace that and just bolt it back on. Quite simple. Not the best of access, but not terrible for being a forest machine.